topic today, we're at 7:30. We should be out of here by 8 o'clock. And just know when I'm speaking to, I have to move around a lot. So if you guys don't want to sit in a chair and you want to stand in the back, that's completely fine. Don't feel like you have to be confined to the chair. But we're going to talk about building powerful teams. And I think that building a powerful team is the catalyst to grow in leaders who deliver best work. So we have this purpose that I believe is to grow leaders within the company. We're going to take mostly entry-level craftsmen and give them an opportunity to become world-class craftsmen through the work that we do. And I think we get the opportunity to do that on some of the best projects, and those best projects require us to deliver the best work. But growing leaders and best work are kind of like the A in the matrix. And if you just mix a bunch of A together, or resin together, you're going to have a very gooey floor. And you need a catalyst that drives that. And I think building a powerful team is the catalyst. So I bet most people here have been part of a project where just A's been on the floor and it's a mess. You don't get a hard epoxy. But within the framework of a powerful team, you can grow a leader because they see the standards, they see the expectations, they see how people work together. And Nate, if I put you by yourself, it'd be really hard to learn anything here. The best way for you to learn and grow here is with a team. And if you are with a powerful team that has standards of excellence, then you're going to grow into knowing that that's what it takes to work at Dancer. So team sometimes can feel powerful by itself, but a team, not every team is powerful. Team just means that you have a shared mission. And so you've probably been part of teams that are not powerful. So can you guys ever think about a team you're on because you're assigned? Don't use a Dancer as an example. We only want positive association here. But think about another job you worked on that you were a team, but it wasn't a powerful team. It's just like you had a job to do, but there wasn't any kind of synergy or consistency between that framework.
I worked at a tree company, and this doctor about 100 trees, and it seemed like the most difficult task ever. I mean, it was a 3-day project, but they're all new guys, and half of them didn't speak English, so it was just like a really tough to navigate through that experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really,
I think that was before Google Translate too, right?
yeah. I mean, it just was tough. It just made things tough. I mean, the mental and physical aspect of it.
So you were a team, there was a mission to do, but you weren't a powerful team.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have an example of a job or a crew or a team you're a part of? You were a team, but it wasn't a powerful team?
Yeah, I did roofing for a long time with the infamous. And their mantra would be more paycheck related than quality work related. And if any of us know anything about, I'm just going to quit name dropping because I think we're on camera, but there's a certain...
Yeah, remember we got the cease and desist letter from, we'll call it, and
It's just we have the talent to not only bid more work, but make more money as a team if we continue to produce best work. But it could never all get on the same page because it was not the number one priority. So that would be an instance for me where I would think that we had a powerful team, but we just never quite got to that peak of being able to make that money.
Yeah, so sometimes we're just assigned a team and we got to play a part, but to build a powerful team is a process, and we're going to talk about that process a little bit. So the teams that you're part of here is you probably have a color or a specific team. So we have, a red team, you're on the red team, you're on the shop team, you're on the project leader team, you're on the blue team, you're on the operations team. These are all kind of sub teams. And then we're part of a company, a Dancer team. And if you're part of a color team or an install team, you have to interact with the other teams because you're part of a company, a Dancer. So you can't just stay in your lane within that team. You have to recognize that we have to work together with other people too. And then to be part of the Dancer team too, there should be kind of a shared set of beliefs or values that we believe to even work here. And so we all do need paychecks. But I wouldn't want to work at a place just for the paycheck. There's any place you can go to work and get paid. There's a reason I want to work here and a reason I want to be part of this company. And I think it stems on this belief. And I was going to have DJ stand up and read this belief. But this is why I think we want to work here. Because we have other places we could work, but yet we choose to work here. So DJ, you cool read that?
The belief. I believe that many young men are smart, hardworking, and can accomplish incredible things. Given the right framework, opportunity, training, and the pressure to perform, they can be sculpted into men who do work that stands with the best in the world. Working alone can build skills. Working with others builds impact. Men who master their craft in the process learn to master it themselves.
So I think that people that work here believe some truth of that. Whether you are the incoming craftsman, we have 3 guys that are less than a month here, or, Dennis and Roger, you guys are not entry-level craftsmen, but you must believe that you play a role in that or you want to work here. And so we have this common belief that we think there's incredible potential in us and other young men to become incredible craftsmen. And so that's a shared belief in our company. And then, so we have the color-specific team, we have our company team, and then we have our job team. Every job that we're on, we're also part of a team. We play a small part in an installation. So on any of these projects, there's other companies there, and we are on the DeKalb football building team right now because we're gonna do the epoxy floor for them. They also had a masonry team there before us. They're gonna have a lighting team, an HVAC team, a concrete team. All those teams are gonna come together, and we're part of those teams as well. And we can be a powerful part of that if we follow these principles. So team doesn't automatically mean good, it doesn't automatically mean healthy, or it doesn't automatically mean powerful. So you've probably seen those kind of corny posters in a high school that says that, or in Dennis's office, that say there's no I in team. Well, that doesn't mean it's a powerful team, it just means people are working together. And so I want to build something like a lean and powerful team. When I was 9 years old, I was part of a soccer team that dominated at the local level. And so every game we won, and we won big, like 22-0 in soccer. And so we went to a local tournament, we dominated that, and then we made it to state. So as a 9-year-old, I'm pretty excited. We're going to state, we get to go to Dayton, Ohio, we stay in a hotel, we're gonna be part of this tournament. It's a double elimination tournament, and we got smoked. We were now getting beat 22-0. And the reason is because we had one kid on our team named Chad, who was very athletic and very skilled above everyone else on our team. So he was good at soccer, and then everyone else, including me, was like average or below average on soccer. And we were strong enough at a local level because we could rely on Chad's strength and prominence, but then we started playing teams at a state level that were filled with Chads, and we didn't stand a chance. We were not a powerful team, we were pretty much Chad's helpers. We just stood there while Chad did all the work. Out of the 22 points, Chad scored 21 of those points. And so we realized, we thought, we had this false assumption that we were a powerful team, but really we were just Chad's sidekicks. And that is not a powerful team. Now, a couple years later, I'm in junior high, and I am the ball boy and water boy for our high school football team. So that means I carry around water bottles and make sure they're hydrated. And when they do a kickoff, I run out and grab the tee and bring it back real fast. And then when you're in junior high, high schoolers are the coolest guys ever. And so it's a pretty fun job to be part of that team. But this team was powerful. So this team had 57 consecutive wins on their football team and 3 back-to-back-to-back state championships. And a couple things I noticed about this team is the coach, Vic Whiting, he was the coach of the high school team, but he also came down to junior high weightlifting. He'd stop in at our practices. He would kind of pay attention to who's up and coming. He'd offer some wisdom. He'd say, hey guys, keep working hard. I want to build a powerful team in a couple years with you guys too. And so he was investing in people beyond who he was working with right then. And so he was growing leaders at that point. I also reached out to one of the linebackers on that team this week, and I said, hey, what were the things that really, 20 years later, what are the things that you can think about that made you guys, what made you guys so powerful when you were winning all those state championships? And he said, by far, you knew that every guy on that team was going to give their 100% best. And when things did fall short, we had the confidence to talk to each other, to bring each other up, and make sure we could get back to that synergy of everyone working together. And I think that is a great matrix for what the start of a powerful team is. He also said that they each had a role. So on a team, on a football team specifically, there are spelled out roles within that framework. But if a guy is a defensive back normally and they have to move him to linebacker because they're playing somebody where that could be a stronger suit, no matter his preference for wanting to play DB and play in linebacker instead, like he had to move and had to make that decision to play that role because it could help the team better. And then we also have a story of Alex Bullenbacher. And Noah, you can correct me during this story if anything falls different, but Alex is Noah and Isaiah's brother. And he's in between you guys, Noah? Oldest. He's the oldest. And so Alex, in wrestling, there's an individual competition going on per weight class, and then there's a team competition going on. And so individual is me versus you, and then team is we take the points of those matches and we combine them to see if our team beat your team. Is that correct? And you went to school at South Adams? Adams Central. So Adams Central was wrestling against Belmont. And in 20 years, they had never beat Belmont. And that's their main competitor, main rivalry. Alex had 2 broken ribs at the time that they were going to face Belmont. And if he took a forfeit because of his broken ribs, they had a powerhouse wrestler at his weight class that was a dominant state competitor. And he would take a forfeit at that weight class if Alex couldn't wrestle. And then that dominant wrestler would step up a weight class and most likely defeat that person. And so they would lose double points. So the coach asked Alex if he could wrestle with 2 broken ribs. He doesn't even need to win. He just needs to keep from getting pinned and go 3 rounds. So they have a chance that that wrestler stays in that weight class and then the higher weight class person can win. And so that's what Alex did. Alex went, is it 3 rounds of 2 minutes? 3 rounds, 2 minutes, 2 broken ribs. Prior to this, he can barely breathe. He can barely eat because it hurts so bad. And yet for his team, he's willing to take a loss on his own record and then go through the pain of that so his team has a chance. It's not even a guarantee, just has a chance to beat the other team. And so Alex does this. He doesn't get pinned. Of course, he loses the match. And then that wrestler stays in that weight class. The wrestler at the higher weight class was Isaiah. Isaiah won his match, and then they won as a team. And at that time, the wrestling coach for Belmont was not known to be the most sportsmanlike guy, and sometimes would even shake hands at the end of matches because of his aggressiveness towards high school wrestling. Yet he would come over to Alex at the end and say, hey man, I know that you have 2 broken ribs. Like, that was super impressive what you did. But when I think about putting together a powerful team, if I got a guy on my team like that, even if he doesn't win his match, if he's willing to suffer through 2 broken ribs and sacrifice his own stats to help our team win, like, I could build a powerful team with somebody like that. And I think if there's one story we remember out of all this, it's that right there. That's probably something he did, 10 years ago? 13 years ago, and yet that story's still being told because it's impacted people. And I bet wherever he goes, that's the kind of guy that you'd want on your team and to have your back. So we had this idea of what does it mean to build a lean and powerful team? Like, what does it look like? Like, how do we know if we are on a lean and powerful team? How do we know if we are playing every roles or sacrificing for each other, or are we just on a team where there's one strong person and we're just their helpers? And I think the first thing up is shared ownership of outcome. I believe that in this business, I will never ask you to do something that's not right. I will never ask you to cut a corner or not deliver best work. So in every moment, you had the chance to, if something's not right, to pivot, to change, to say, hey, this isn't well, we need to fix it. But I'm never gonna ask you to do stuff that's like bad work or hide something from a customer. We're gonna do well and we're gonna do right by our customers. And that, for us, helps us have pride in the place of business we work and in our own work. We each have a role to play. So for example, we all have roles to play. I play the role of president, Mark plays the role of shop leader, Sullivan plays the role of craftsman on Red Team, but we're gonna ask you to do, in a small business, we have to flex and adapt to circumstances. I would never wanna be part of a company where it's like, nope, that's not my job, I can't do it. I wanna be part of a company where people are helping each other. So when Google Seals come and we need a team to Google Seal and we can't put any of the other teams on it, Mark builds a team to Google Seal. Like, that's the kind of company I wanna be a part of. And then I want to build a business that's more powerful than one. So that's the reason we're doing this meeting. I don't want me to be the bottleneck of our company. And I don't want any of our team leaders or somebody that's playing a role of leader on a company or a team to be the bottleneck of our growth either. I want to create a place where people aren't afraid of people up and coming, because they're going to take their job or do better than them. It's that we want to create opportunities for that. Second one is to move with purpose. We got to be efficient. We can't mosey around. We got to be efficient with our time. We got to be efficient with our resources, our focus. Everything we do, we don't want to be wasteful. We want to move with purpose. And that we want to use what we have. I get that sometimes you're going to feel like, man, it'd be nice if we had an extra guy. And I get it. Like, our jobs, this is work. It is going to be stressful, and you're going to have to work with what you have. There's not an unlimited amount of resources. But I would much rather be part of a business or an organization that has a powerful few rather than just adding more for more sake. So if we're a military organization, I'd much rather be a special forces team than just the general forces. I would want to be part of something that's special, that's different, that is incredible, and does things that people think are almost impossible. I think we need to grow skills that are deep and wide. What that means is I want to grow my skills. Like, if I'm good at one part of our business, I want to grow skills in all installation systems. Or I want to, if I'm a project leader, I want to be better skilled if I've done mostly epoxy jobs to how to bid some precast. So we want to grow skills wide. We want to get better within the framework in what we do. And then we also want to go deeper in what we're already good at. And so we want to be masters in things, not just kind of surface level people. One thing that I've been thinking about is, on every installation team, what would it look like if the third craftsman on that team could go and do a small project individually by themselves? So we have a project coming up at Marion Veterans Hospital, and we have 2 major projects that require a full team, but they do have a specific phase in an active hospital where it's a really small area. I think it's 70 square foot, right, Nathan? 38 square foot. So that is 5 times 8. What's 5 times 8? 40. So it's 5 foot by 8 foot. We do not, and we can't send a full team to go do that job because that would not be an economical, smart decision. I also don't want to ask one of our skilled team leaders to go down there and do it because that takes them away from doing more challenging work. This is a pretty basic install. But what would it look like if every third craftsman on a team had the ability to go and split and take that job? Because if I've been here a year and I'm a third craftsman on a team, and if you ask me like, hey, I got this little project for you to own, I'm freaking pumped to take that on. I want to show you that I can prepare my resources. I want to print the WPs. I want to practice filling out the board. I want to learn the social skills of showing up to a job site and navigating where it's at and working with the general contractor. I want to showcase my skills and abilities that I can be neat, clean, and organized. You're not going to have any problems with what I take on. And I don't think we're there right now. But what would it look like in our future is if that is what every third craftsman, a guy that's a year in, could handle that kind of project. And I'd like to have more metrics for things like that we clearly can articulate, oh yeah, this person could do that. Not from an overconfidence because they've been on a powerful team and they've been an assist on a job and all their jobs have gone well, but they could actually take the lead on a project like that and own it. And the same's true of a small polish job. Sometimes we just have these jobs that are phased and we have these little weird things we got to go take care of, or touch-ups at the end of a job. Like, that person could go fix a spot on a floor that somebody dropped something. We don't have to send our highest skilled members, that they get an opportunity to grow and learn through those things. I think part of being lean and powerful is you got to have powerful habits. I think the lowest level we tolerate becomes our culture. And I'm going to say that again, but the best work is not some exciting thing we do when the job goes well. Our best work is, what do we tolerate? What's our standard when we're tired? I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired in the morning and I'm tired at the end of the day. So there's like a 10-minute interval sometime during my day where I'm not tired. I'm sore, I'm exhausted, I don't have the clarity I want. And so what do I tolerate when we're worn out? What do I tolerate when my team's complaining? What do I tolerate when my team leader's in a grumpy mood? But the lowest level what we tolerate becomes our culture. And nothing we do is neutral. And think about the people we're with in this room. Are the people in this room, are they helping or hindering these types of things from happening? There is no neutral. It's either helping or hindering. And then we have to have consistent results. We don't want just one-time results. We don't want just one grand project. There's never been a project that has made Dancer. There's also never been a project that destroyed Dancer. Our results come over time. And we want to make sure results are a byproduct of what we do. This is an instrument. So if I was flying a plane, I would have to operate on instruments, because when I drive a car, I have instruments, but I can see everything. But when you're flying a plane, you have to use instruments because you can't navigationally see everything, especially if you're up in the air and the clouds and things like that. So you got to trust your instincts, but you also have to have instruments. But we don't want to be a company that's so focused on results, because every time I've been around a person or a company that is only about results, they lose all these, and then they become weak instead of powerful, and they lose purpose. So I think we all want to be lean and powerful. I think that's why we work here, and as humans, we mostly want to do well with what we've been given, and it feels good, it has purpose. The problem lies in the kind of suck of what living powerful takes. So these are the results. If we're lean and powerful, we're gonna have shared ownership of outcome. We're gonna move with purpose. We're growing skills deep and wide. We have powerful habits and standards. We have consistent results. But to get there, we have to live powerful. And to live powerful it's more than fist bumps and compliments. Those things are good. I'm glad we have core values. I'm glad we complement each other. I'm glad we have a culture where most guys probably get along. But to live powerful is gonna be much more than that. And that there's gonna be frustrations in living powerful. There's gonna be sacrifices in living powerful. There's gonna be a lot of time and energy invested to live powerful. And to the customer, they're gonna see flow from working with us. And that's our goal, is to them to be like, man, you guys are a well-oiled machine. But within that well-oiled machine, there's usually a lot of friction and tension and personalities, and that's okay. It's just that we have to have the tools to navigate through those things. And so I think to live powerful, there's always going to be tension between standards and comfort. To be part of a powerful team, it will feel demanding and exhausting. So back to that special forces example, I imagine that anybody that's in a special forces team or a high performing team or professional sports team never says like, oh yeah, like you can just kind of get here and then cruise, or it's easy. Like every day it hurts, and it's going to hurt with your body, it's going to hurt with your mind. But to be part of a powerful team is going to feel demanding and exhausting. And some of that is just learning to live with those things and hold that tension and not always look for the comfort on the other side. You can't hide. Number two is there's no room to coast here. The team knows if you're giving your best. We operate between 2 and 4-man teams. There's like every minute, every hour you work is impactful when you work with a small team. And I never want to be part of an organization where we have teams like 10 guys on a job site, because you can hide then. In small teams, you can't hide. Everyone is needed. Everyone's counted on. That's why I'm very particular about being on time or showing up most days, is because like if you're not here, it actually hurts the team. There's actually implications of you not playing your part in that team. Iron sharpens iron. You guys have probably heard this phrase before, that being around strong people can make you sharp. But the same thing is iron also dulls iron. It's about the direction you take to iron, whether it becomes sharp or dull. And this is about the people around you and the mindset of doing best regardless of preference and ego. We have, me included, all of us here have a preference for how we want to do something. We all have an ego and we think we are something. And that, yet, during the day, during the work, we have to choose what's best for the people that we're working for, clients, and representing something bigger than us, a brand and reputation that's going to carry and defines our future. So we got to think about, are the people around me sharpening me, or are the people around me dulling me? Am I dulling the people around me, or am I sharpening the people around me? So this is what it takes to live powerful. And for me, I always need this is kind of like the character traits or the principles, but for me, I get a lot of help from models, like who have done this before us and what are the traits that we can learn from them. And we have 3 models today. The first one up is the Container Store. So the Container Store is a store, like the name says, sells containers. They sell plastic containers, organizational things. They sell closet systems. I think the closest one is down at Keystone Mall in Indianapolis. But their business, and one of their core values, is and this is a core value, just like neat, clean, and organized or strong and steady, is that they hire 1 great instead of 3 good. So in retail, there's a book I read about the Container Store, and in retail, when this book was wrote, entry-level retail wages were $10 an hour. What is the entry-level wage to go work at Target right now? $15 an hour. So it's $15 an hour to work at Target or Kohl's or any kind of retail store. And the people that are working at the Container Store or Kohl's or Target, it's like a similar type entry-level retail job. So the Container Store would say, hey, we don't want to hire 3 people at $15 an hour, because if we hire 3 people at $15 an hour, there's like really no guarantee that they're going to be able to really put it in and work in the way that we think is going to be good for the brand. So what we'd rather do is the same job at the Container Store, entry-level retail, we want to pay them $22.50 to work at the Container Store. And what that means is that they get higher caliber people to come in and work at their retail store. And so they say, hey, we're going to hire 1 great person at 22. We're going to ask more of you than if you were working for 15. But you're going to have similar roles and responsibilities, but you're going to have to do the work of 3 good people. But the thing with 3 good is they're just adding people to fix problems. And if you've been in retail or maybe fast food, you recognize like the problem sometimes isn't that there's not enough people. It's like, are those people working together in a way that adds value to us as customers when we're there? And the Container Store says when we hire 1 great person instead of 3 good, we get more productivity, more consistency, and fewer management headaches. They said when you hire these 3 people at 15, there's a lot of work in building basics about showing up for work, working all day, being kind to customers, helping people. They say when we hire this person at 22, we get a lot better results. And we think that is better results, not just for our business, but it's for that person. That person doesn't want to work with those other 3 good people. They get frustrated because they already feel like they're doing all the work anyways. And so it's good for customers, it's good for that team member, and it's good for the business. And to me, that is a model to build a powerful team. Another one is Ed Carpenter Racing. This is an IndyCar team out of Indianapolis. A couple years ago, Jake, Mark, and I, and Clark went down there, and we had a friend that got us in there, and they gave us a tour of their facility. And the idea was to understand how does an IndyCar shop run? Like, I bet you all can imagine that. Like, imagine what it's like. Does anybody have any ideas? Like, even if you've never been in one, what do you expect when you think about an IndyCar shop?
Maybe like a surgery room.
Yeah.
Everyone in their place, all the tools where they're supposed to be clean. Everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Clean, tight, specific. And that's what I expected too. Another thing I expected is they can operate that way because they just have so much money. There's just so much money in that space that they can do those things at a level that most businesses can't. Well, one thing I learned is, it does look like that, by the way, but one thing I learned is they have to run super lean. There is not a lot of excess money in an IndyCar team. So Ed Carpenter Racing runs 2 to 3 cars in the Indy circuit, and each of those cars that they run costs $10 million to operate. And so that's operational cost to run that car. And they are like, IndyCar teams are like always right on the brink of making the money from sponsorships to run that team, but they don't make a profit or they don't like have excess capital unless they actually win races. But they have to run very lean. And there's a lot of parameters with what they do. And I also thought like, maybe these mechanics are just making like $150K a year and they got double of everything. And that's not true at all. Their craftsmen or their mechanics make very similar wages to us here. Their team leaders or team crew leaders of a team make very similar wages to us here. And they're not running off a bunch of excess. It's a very lean and efficient space. And they don't have double of everything. So one thing about their crew is they have a building the size of the CAS building. And when they're at the shop during the week, they have all their tools, equipment, computers, stations, and they're tuning things, adjusting things, making improvements from what they learned from the last race. And then when they go out to the race, they take their whole shop with them. And so they don't have like shop stuff and field stuff. Very similar to us where we're moving out of vehicles or borrowing from White. They're taking their whole shop with them to every race. They have 4 huge trailers that they load everything up in, and then they go to the race. And so they have to be held very accountable to taking care of their tools, having what they need. And I said, well, what do you do if you forget? Like you're working with so many specialty things. What about like if you forget like the special brake wrench that only IndyCar uses? Do you send a guy back to Indianapolis via a private flight and then he drives back all night and shows up 2 minutes before the race and you make the adjustment, this heroic feat that's super wasteful but sounds cool and makes for a good movie? Or do you have to go ask your competitors like, hey man, we forgot the brake wrench, can we borrow your brake wrench? And he said, we never forget. And I said, what do you mean you never forget? He said, you don't forget. He said, we have teams. If you're the suspension team, we have a suspension team leader, and that suspension team leader has 2 to 3 guys that work on the suspension, and they're responsible for getting all the suspension stuff to the race and bringing it back. If you're on the brakes, you're the brake team leader, your responsibility is to make sure you and your brake team have everything you need to execute on your job. Because how can we count on you to work together as a team on this whole car team if you can't be held accountable to your role that you're playing? And if we fail in that role, like we're gonna fail as a whole car. If we don't have the right suspension adjustments or the right brakes or the right engine things, like we're gonna fail. And so you have to take responsibility for those things. And so a lot of this wasn't like excess, it was just like precision or excellence that's been dialed in and set an expectation from when they start working with this team. And the third one is Toyota. This is the car manufacturer. One of the things about Toyota is they're gonna tell you when you join Toyota that, hey, we have a purpose here. We wanna create a vehicle that has the lowest level of defects of any other major market leader. And so on an assembly line, and Toyota did not invent the assembly line. They actually, Ford invented it. Toyota came from Japan. Actually, Ford taught it to them, and then they took it back to Japan and created it and improved it over there. And so they say that whether it's my first day at Toyota or my 20th year at Toyota, if you work on this production line, we're gonna teach you the skills needed to do your job well. But if you ever see a defect, there's buttons to stop the line. And the idea is every station has a button to stop the line because we cannot have a defect go by someone. And so they're gonna empower me to stop the line, and then there's a line supervisor that comes to that spot right now and fixes that or figures out what's going on. Because just imagine if I'm day 30 on the job and everything's been pretty good, and then my job is to check the door handles or put the door handles on, and then it sticks and it doesn't work, and I'm like, I don't want to say anything, I'll just let it go. And then that ends up in the hands of someone on a dealership, and then someone buys it, and then 2 weeks in, the first time that door handle's ever pulled in the back door, they're like, it doesn't even work. And then their neighbor asks how their new Toyota is, and they're like, well, it's in the shop right now, the door handle didn't even work. And they're like, you just spent 30 grand on a new car and the door handle doesn't work? Man, Toyotas are crap. Like, that's how those experiences happen. But that doesn't happen with Toyota that much, or it happens consistently less on Toyotas than any other car manufacturer. And so I just imagine, what would it look like if no person here ever left a messy cord in their site and didn't stop and rewrap it? Or no person here ever sees an orange glove on the ground instead of in a trash can and doesn't pick it up? Because we all know what to do, but then we get nervous to act or hurt someone's feelings. But what would it look like if we were all working in sync to stop the line and notice those details? So Dom Hatch, you don't know this is coming, but Dom Hatch was the most detailed out dressed man I've ever done in an interview before. So Dom, your level of detail on your personal level, was that just because you're an interviewer, or is that just how, if I see you outside of work, that's how you look all the time?
You see me outside of work, that's how I am all the time.
Yeah. And is your car the same way?
Yeah, actually it is.
It's clean and tight and detailed? So I imagine that by working at Dancer, that part of being great craftsmen is we have really good style and taste and detail as well. And that when we see things that are off, that we correct them because it's just off. We just want to be tight with our work. We want to have a high level of detail. And when I think about people that, iron sharpens iron, in the detail perspective, I'm like, man, Dom Hatch looks fresh. Like, I need to start looking that fresh. And so it inspires me to want to do better. And that's how a team should work, is it doesn't matter roles or responsibilities or how long you've worked here. Sometimes my truck is really messy, and if Dom Hatch's truck is really clean, I'm like, man, I gotta kind of bring it up a level. Like, that inspires me to want to do better. And as we close this out, Toyota, they start their day with a daily huddle like this, and they have stretches. They do 10-minute stretches to make sure everybody's loose before they go to work. But then after their day, they all come back. And I know we can't do this here, but in a factory, you know, the bell rings at 4 o'clock and we all come here. And one of the things is they had production goals for the day. They see where they hit those goals, and then they have a reflect and improve. And so they say, hey, what did we do well today? You know, how did we hit the metrics? Did we, you know, make 327 cars? And then what would we improve next time? What do we do better so tomorrow's a better day than today? And I think that when we build powerful teams, I think reflection is probably the most powerful thing we can do. And so I would ask that, you know, when we look at this, we take complete ownership of our role. It's so easy as humans to think like, I got this, but my team is keeping me down, or I'm doing this, but it's somebody else's fault we're not lean and powerful. And so I would say just reflect and take complete ownership of like, what's my role? How am I helping to build a lean and powerful team with my color or specific team? How am I helping build a lean and powerful team as part of Dancer? How am I helping to build a lean and powerful team at the jobs I'm at? And then outside of work too, you know, you're part of a family team. You might be part of a basketball team outside of work that you want to be lean and powerful. And there's all these roles we play in life. And I just think that we get nervous sometimes, like, man, I might put it all in, but the other people aren't picking it up. Like I imagine Chad when he was playing with all of us losers as 9-year-olds, he's like, I'm doing all the work. And yet these guys aren't catching up. And there's no way I could ever compete at that level at 9 years old with Chad. But I respect and appreciate that he's willing to keep working, to want to build lean and powerful. And he also had a lot of influence on us. If Chad was a jerk, or Chad could also help build our skills, even if we can never get up to his level, within that same framework of the team. He could make us a little bit better. And I think all of us in the teams we are a part of can make things a little bit better, and it will work out to help us be lean and powerful. This is also, to build powerful teams, will be our 2026 yearly theme as well. So I'll show you guys shirts coming up too of what those will look like. Cool. We kind of got 2 final boards to close out the meeting. Polish Train today is day 3 of Polish Train. There's a lot of specifics that you're going to do. You're going to run hundreds through closeout. A couple key learns to know would be densifier is one of the most important things for long-term durability on a polished floor. Every concrete floor is different. Sometimes you put densifier on, it seems like it sits on the surface. Sometimes you put it on, it seems like you can't add enough. We need enough densifier that floor stays wet for about 20 minutes before it completely dries. And if you're ever in a spot where you don't know what to do, like always be okay densifying again. Like we want to make sure that chemical reaction that hardens that surface is one of the most important long-term things we can do. So we free dump densifier, but if it's soaking in so fast and it's just like leaving marks, don't be afraid to ever go back out and put more on. Don't underestimate the BGs. The BGs look like that on a process sheet. It takes a really long time to do the BGs. There's a lot of processing and work in the BGs. And then closeout's a process. Closeout's not just leaving a job. Closeout's a full process. It's like, also you don't want to wait until 10 minutes before you leave to talk to the customer. You want to let them know like, hey, we're closing out tomorrow. You want to walk it first thing. You want to start bringing your tools back 2 days before you close out, not just on the final closeout. Because what happens is you underestimate the BGs, and then it's 5 o'clock, and yet you still have to load up, you still have to talk to the client, you still have to do all these things, and then it's just kind of a cluster, and we might close out a job to leave, but we kind of leave everything else in disarray to do so. Second look, we want projects where people come and walk jobs. We get a second set of eyes to look at something that's not in the work every day. It's kind of like a heads-up view of the job. We're gonna load up, we're gonna clean our stuff as we go. Again, you don't wanna wait till the last day. Once you're done with your machine, while the BGs are gone, if you got the time, or the team, like get your machine out of there. While the BGs are gone, have somebody start taking that out of there so you're not waiting till the end. Bonus lap on jobs, we just wanna walk the space. We wanna get all the cords, the push brooms, the dustpans, all those things that collect in different areas of a job. Hang finished floor signs, that's literally just taping a finished floor sign that says, hey, this job is done. And let's go through this process. Even though it's like silly or make-believe, let's hang those finished floor signs because that's a great way to keep our brand on the floor when we're not there. Close out with the customer. I'll be your customer today. So I'll go over there. The idea is like, hey, we're going to be leaving. Is there anything you see right now you want us to pay attention to? This is kind of what you can expect in the next couple hours as we pull out of here. And then pictures, take pictures so you can share. And then project leader, as we close out a job, the project leader always calls if they're not there on the final day and said, hey, just want to make sure everything's good. We're going to be sending a bill. Before we send somebody a bill, we want to make sure it's tight. So anytime we close out a job, the next thing that happens is, hey, how did it go? And then a bill. And people want things really nice before they get billed for their work. And then Marshall, you got a final thing?
So Nick mentioned he's trying to be off coffee this week. He's got a cold. He's tired all the time, but he's not asleep all the time because at some point he probably decided he'd become unstoppable. And that's something that you can actually just decide and do. And in a pretty legendary interview, Marshawn Lynch made that decision and talked about it. So on deciding to become unstoppable, Marshawn said, it just clicked in my mind that if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that. Just over and 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 over again. They're just not gonna want that. Run through their face, then you don't have to worry about them anymore. Run through some faces today.